Top stories of the morning.
Good Monday morning. Later today, the Weddington Town Council will vote on a controversial project. That is that planned proposal by the Toll brothers to build a development of 62 high-end homes on nearly 167 acres along Weddington Road. Now, while some residents acknowledge that development is inevitable, many others are calling for a different approach, wanting that project scrapped altogether. Of course, we'll have details of whatever happens on that vote that comes up tonight at 7 o'clock.
Also happening today, Charlotte City officials will discuss 14 new community area plans that could transform neighborhoods for decades to come. You can share your thoughts at the public hearing at today's City Council meeting starting at 5.
All right, the one accident that we are still watching very carefully is this one right here. It's I-45 northbound lanes are being impacted. It's at Highway 49 northbound crash, so keep that in mind if you are heading that way this morning.
Okay, one day stands out from the rest. It's the lowest and the reddest. It is a weather alert day today. Widespread rain. There are more wet hours than dry ones. I think we will break up the rain a little bit by the afternoon, but pretty much every hour of this morning will be filled with rain. It'll be heavy at times, even a chance for thunderstorms later on. Scattered thunderstorms for your Tuesday. Drier, warmer, hotter, more humid to end the week, just in time for the PGA.
Okay.
Ooh, it's going to get hot. It's 90 degrees.
Earlier in the show, we asked you to share your favorite song that always gets you dancing. We got all sorts of responses. Some ballads, like When a Man Loves a Woman. Yes, that's a good slow dance to, dance to.
Boots on the ground. You know that dance? You've heard that?
I've heard of it, yes.
Okay.
We're going to demonstrate on WCNC Plus.
A classic by one Will Smith, Getting Jiggy with It.
Nah.
All good. All right, we'll see you over on WCNC Plus. streaming live right now at 7 a.m. on WCNC Plus. I'm Ben Thompson.
And I'm Lisa Washington, taking a live look over at Lake Norman this morning. We are weather alert today as rain is moving into our area. Chris says we are into a wet start to this week.
On a Monday, too. If you need a little extra motivation, I don't know where you're going to find it. Maybe on the bottom of a coffee cup. 62 degrees Hickory, 65 Charlotte, 65 right around the Monroe area. Yeah, it's a warm start. It's also a very humid start. Not a great hair day as well. Our rain chances, well, it's not a chance. It's going to rain over the next several hours. It's a washout type of morning. Not a complete washout day because I do think that we're going to have a few dry slots later on with a chance for thunderstorms. High temperatures right around 70 degrees at this point. Even though this icon shows sun, I think likely it's just going to be an overcast day. Here's the current status for our Doppler radar right around the Charlotte area. Pretty much anywhere from drizzle to light rain, but then we have a lot of pockets of moderate to heavy rain. When I see these areas of orange, we're talking about rain rates over a ½ inch per hour. That's that max setting on the windshield wipers that are going back and forth. Down towards the southeast, also some spotty, heavier downpours right around Polkton here in Wadesboro. In between, a lot more widespread rain down towards the south, and all this is swinging its way off towards the north. So those of you who have not seen rain yet, it's coming. You just got to wait a little bit longer, and once it starts raining, it's really not going to stop. That's why today is weather alert, and there's a few reasons here, actually. Chance for thunderstorms, chance for isolated severe storms, and even widespread rain that could lead to some localized flooding. And I would not be surprised over the next couple of days if we have some trees that are in rough shape and you didn't know about it. The saturated soil with even a gust up to 25 miles per hour, a little bit stronger by tomorrow, could bring down some isolated trees, so an outside risk there. Flood watch starts now, goes through today, ends Tuesday afternoon, mainly to the northwest, in the east and northeast of Charlotte. Well, why not in between? The reason why is these areas have a better chance for a little bit more rain than what Charlotte's going to see, even though all of us under a medium threat for excessive rainfall today. So localized flash flood warnings are not out of the question. We've already seen training rain setting up south of Columbia that's aiming its sights right towards us. I'm really going to focus in on, I think, Cleveland County up into Burke County that's first going to see this a little bit later on. Better chance for stronger thunderstorms and widespread rain. Here's what the futurecast looks like by 8 o'clock, so an hour from now. By 9 o'clock, I think every single one of our counties dealing with at least a light to moderate rain shower with some pockets of some of that heavier rain. There is a little bit of hope that once you get to the early afternoon, we start to clear things out. So at this point, it's either going to be some drizzle under an overcast sky, or it's starting to dry out just briefly. So no active rain coming through, just to look like it's going to rain. And then really it's the middle of the afternoon that, even though you might have that dry slot, a spotty shower and a returning thunderstorm is still going to be a possibility, especially right in this zone. And this area over here might be a little bit more unstable than others. That's late afternoon heading into the early evening. And then this is also where we could have some training rain. So I'm going to show you this version of this futurecast. This one goes a little bit longer. Look what happens here. And this picks up on what's happening down to the south right now, so I believe it. You're seeing widespread rain after widespread rain shower. This is training rain and the classic flood setup. If this happens, those areas are seeing about 3 to 6 inches by the end of this event. But the good news is by tomorrow, we're not seeing a repeat. Earlier last week, it looked like, hey, today's rain could also be on Tuesday, and that would be much higher rain rates. Well, I think that we have actually a lot more dry hours tomorrow, so it could be a drier morning, and then we have some scattered showers and thunderstorms through the middle of the afternoon. And of course, some of those thunderstorms could be of the stronger variety with some gusty winds and also some heavier downpours, but at least it's not as widespread like what we have this morning. But still, we're picking up anywhere from 1 to 3 inches of rain across the area. Some areas about 3 to 4. Just really isolated, and you see this little area red, that's picking up on those heavier bands of showers that are moving in from the south. There's also a low chance for severe storms. I was pointing out to around the Spartanburg area for that chance for a thunderstorm to bubble up. This is very low, and oftentimes when you have these widespread rain events, they're really tough. And our tornado chances, very isolated, but looking at some of the rotation tracks, barely anything's popping up. And our wind damage risk also isolated down towards the south and west. So just have to mention it, that it is there per the Storm Prediction Center. Here's the rotation tracks I was talking about. You have a couple of dots that pop up here. It's really not until that we start to see a little bit more indications of the yellows as we see here through the overnight, even though we won't have the fuel at that point, that I'm a little bit more concerned. So again, it's mid to late afternoon. There's the best chance for a stronger thunderstorm. Charlotte, yeah, you could have a thunderstorm potential. There's even some thunder that's embedded in this band of rain that we're dealing with right now. So you could have a few of those bolts that are going to rattle the windowsills earlier this morning. But again, it's up in the mountains that have the highest rain potential. After today, we are looking at only a likely chance for rain, still scattered throughout the day tomorrow. Then Wednesday, scattered, and then after that, it's a lot less likely that we see a widespread rain event. So that's why today stands out from all the rest, and that's why we're going weather alert for those multiple reasons, as I mentioned. Quick recap: chance for localized flooding and outside chance for a stronger thunderstorm. Tuesday, scattered thunderstorms. Wednesday, things start to wind down, and then we flip the script to a whole other part of the forecast. It feels like summer. It's humid today. It continues to be humid for the rest of this week, near 90 degrees on Friday. Friday could be our warmest day of 2025. At least we dry out slightly. Better chance for scattered thunderstorms on Saturday, but boy, are we flipping the script. More of a wet spring start to the week, and then we end it with summer status. Wow, oh wow. We're also starting off the morning with rain. That usually doesn't lead to a great morning commute. Let's check Majestic how things are faring so far. Good morning to you, my friend.
Good morning. Definitely seeing very wet road conditions out there. Not only is it wet, but it's also a little foggy at times, especially out towards Lake Norman. Not seeing anything too significant, but you can't rule it out for that morning commute. Let's take a look at our very busy traffic map for your Monday morning commute. Let's take it towards the uptown area. This accident just popping up at Moorhead Street, a crash near Berkeley Ave. Not seeing significant slowdowns, but want to zoom it back out, and let's talk about this accident here, because we're actually seeing some of those bigger impacts with red popping up on the map. This is a crash at I-485. The outer loop is being impacted by this. It's at exit 36 Rocky River Road, so a little bit of a slow and go morning commute if your morning commute typically takes you out that way. Wanted to zoom out just a bit to put things into perspective. You can see visibility is not significantly reduced, but you may encounter some fog, especially out towards Concord, where we also have a little bit of ponding across those area roadways. If you live in a flood-prone area, just make sure you're driving with caution over the next several days because of all this rain that is heading our way. We'll have another check at those drive times coming up in just a few. Ben.
Majestic, thanks. A North Charlotte Harris Teeter remains closed this morning after a fire over the weekend. Firefighters responded late Saturday night to the Davis Lake location. It took 90 firefighters about an hour to put out the flames. This morning, we're learning the fire was allegedly set on purpose. We spoke to crews at the scene who tell us there are lessons to be learned here.
Every fire we go to, we take back lessons learned and how can we improve the next time? Are there places we can improve, stretching lines better, doing searches better? Everything that we do, we're always constantly learning from the previous fires.
Firefighters say the flames caused about $500,000 in damage due to significant water and fire damage. No word yet on a potential suspect.
7:08 now. Happening today, Weddington town leaders are set to vote on the next steps for a controversial development. While supporters say it would bring more homes, neighbors worry about the environmental impacts. WCNC Charlotte's Richard Devane joins us live to break down those concerns. And Richard, the neighbors we spoke to have a lot of concerns.
Yes, they do. A lot of neighbors concerned about this proposed project. Good morning to you, Lisa. Good Monday morning to all our streamers out there. Basically, this is a project that has had its controversial from the start, it seems. Today, that proposed a vote on that proposed luxury home development by the Toll brothers, which is had a lot of debate here in Weddington. The plan involves construction on 62 high-end homes on nearly 167 acres, that off of Weddington Road. While some residents acknowledge that development is inevitable, many are calling for a more responsible approach ahead of this vote tonight. The proposed project includes plans for community wastewater treatment plant, which has raised environmental concerns. Opponents argue that the system poses risk to local wildlife as well as water quality. Additionally, residents express concerns about increased traffic, congestion on Weddington Road, a lack of adequate infrastructure, and potential strain on local schools. In response to community feedback, Toll brothers have revised the original plan several times, reducing the number of homes from 93 to 62. They say they've also opted for individual septic systems instead of a shared treatment facility. Despite these changes, many residents remain skeptical and are advocating for a more sustainable development approach, and others welcome the project. Take a listen.
We saw 8 eagles out on different trees in our neighborhood. It's been concerns about that, plus Toll Brothers has had issues in the town as far as stormwater runoff. Lake's been damaged in another neighborhood in Bromley, erosion runoff. So we have 2 large lakes that this wildlife thrives on.
I believe that the eagles have just been weaponized, not building within 660 feet of the eagle's nest. And we have the Fish and Wildlife Bureau has signed off on this.
And we will find out if tonight town leaders sign off on this deal. That meeting and the vote takes place tonight at 7 o'clock. We'll have updates of what happens. We're right here in Weddington. Richard Evang, guys, we'll send it back to you.
And Richard, just for clarification, they did change the plan for the wastewater treatment.
That is absolutely correct. They've changed that plan. They've made other changes to the plan, but neighbors continue to push back, saying that there are still other areas that they're concerned about. So tonight, that vote, it's listed as old business. It's the first item of previous business that is listed on the agenda tonight, and we'll find out exactly if any of the changes or any of those attempted changes will codify or make those town leaders feel like giving it that yes vote to the rezoning.
Yeah. And we'll have that answer tomorrow morning right here on WCNC Plus. All right, Richard, thank you for that.
Richard.
All right, 7-11 right now on WCNC Plus, and let's take a live look right now at U.S. futures, the stock market out there. If we have it, we might not have it right now. Here it is, looking fairly good right now, pretty much all in the green with about 2 hours before the market opens. The market most likely reacting to news of a trade deal with China that could reduce those tariffs.
Now, it all comes as President Trump heads to the Middle East today to help negotiate a ceasefire in the Israel-Gaza war. NBC's Alice Barr has the latest from Washington this morning.
Combine it, and anybody should have known.
President Trump traveling to the Middle East today for the first major foreign trip of his second term, expected to focus on business deals, as Trump administration and Chinese officials revealed new details about a trade deal negotiated this weekend, announcing a 90-day pause for most tariffs beginning Wednesday. The U.S. cutting tariffs on Chinese imports from 145 to 30%, China going from 125 to 10% on U.S. goods, while negotiations continue.
It's important to understand how quickly we were able to come to agreement, which reflects that perhaps the differences were not so large as maybe thought.
With growing concerns over tariff-induced price hikes, President Trump promising an executive order today to slash prescription drug prices by 30 to 80%. His Middle East trip comes amid signs of tension with Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu over how to approach aggression from Iran and the war in Gaza. After U.S.-Hamas negotiations, the last living American-Israeli hostage in Gaza, Idan Alexander, is expected to be released as soon as today. President Trump calling it hopefully the first and the final steps necessary to end this brutal conflict. The president not currently set to visit Israel this trip, stopping instead in Saudi Arabia, Qatar, and the United Arab Emirates, as the White House confirmed Qatar offered to donate what 4 sources call a super luxury jumbo jet to use as the new Air Force One. The sources say it would be transferred to the Trump Presidential Library Foundation at the end of his term. Critics, including top Senate Democrat Chuck Schumer, blasting the plan as bribery. President Trump defending what he calls a very public and transparent transaction.
A White House official told NBC News the jet would not be presented nor accepted while President Trump is in Qatar this week. The White House press secretary noting any gift accepted will be in full compliance with the law. In Washington, Alice Barr, NBC News.
Looking ahead, time running out to apply for former Councilman Tark Bakari's seat on Charlotte City Council. The application deadline is tomorrow with hopes to fill the seat by early June. Applicants must be the age of 21 or older, a registered voter and Republican, and live in District 6, which includes South Park.
Today marks the start of the PGA Championship at Quail Hollow Club. This morning, CMPD is sharing a few reminders before you head out to catch some of the world's top golfers. Officers are expecting more than 250,000 fans to fill the South Charlotte golf course. They're urging attendees to plan ahead and arrive early. Glen Eagles Road will be closed during tournament play. You can also expect to see plenty of officers out on the course working to keep everyone safe. You can avoid the traffic headaches this week by using free public transportation. CATS is offering free rides to the championship all week long. Just use the Blue Line station at the Sharon Road West Park and Ride. CATS will also offer bus services between the Park and Ride and Quail Hollow.
The issues continue at Newark Airport this morning after a chaotic Mother's Day weekend. The ongoing problems now prompting lawmakers on Capitol Hill to take action this morning. NBC's Jessica Cunnington explains.
For a second time since Friday, equipment outages causing chaos at Newark Airport.
I was so nervous to fly into Newark.
Delays and cancellations stacking up here after a 45-minute ground stop Sunday morning due to what the FAA is calling a telecommunications issue at the Philadelphia Air Traffic Control Facility that manages Newark's flights. The madness on Mother's Day, the latest in a series of issues at this airport.
Our scope shift went black again.
Friday, radar went black for 90 seconds at the Philadelphia facility. A similar situation happened back on April 28th, prompting a federal focus on modernizing the entire air traffic control system and addressing the nationwide controller shortage.
Overhauling the whole system, I think is going to take a lot. Maybe we could just start with Newark.
Senator Chuck Schumer agrees.
Fix it. Fix it now. Newark must be number one in their priority scale.
Schumer says he wants old radar screens at Newark swapped out ASAP and is asking Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy for a clear timeline and cost of the overhaul plan he unveiled last week.
What we saw over the last few days is just scary. So if they fix Newark quickly, they can learn from it, and they can also assure the public that they're on top of things.
Secretary Duffy on Meet the Press this morning insists flying in and out of Newark right now is safe and necessary changes are coming.
I fly out of Newark all the time. My family flies out of Newark, specifically in Newark. We believe we're going to have it up and running in short order. We're going to be able to fix that glitch.
Duffy says software glitches and telecommunications issues are to blame for the recent outages at Newark, and he is concerned it could happen at other airports across the country. For Jamerson Hamlin, whose Newark flight was delayed today, he's not too worried about safety.
I don't feel any type of way. I just want to get home.
Jessica Cunnington with that report. Did you feel it? A lot of people in the Southeast got a surprise wake-up call this weekend. Check out this video from a viewer in Cheryl's Ford. You can see her home shaking during Saturday's 4.1 magnitude earthquake. Now, the quake originated in Tennessee, just south of Knoxville. It was felt as far away as western North Carolina and Georgia.
And I actually want to show you that map. So this is the Who Felt It map, and check it out. So the earthquake was right around here, and you saw it as far east as Raleigh. Now that was barely anything. Most of us just felt a gentle shake. That was around a 3 magnitude, even though this was a 4.1. So just absolutely incredible. As you can see there, 4.1 over in Greenback, Tennessee. So yeah, we do have these occasionally. This is the strongest one that we've had locally since the Great Sparta, North Carolina earthquake that we had back in 2020. So yeah, it's been a while. Today, a weather impact window is open all day long. Chance for some heavier rains, some flash flooding, and certainly a few storms here and there. So that's one thing that I want everyone to be advised. There's going to be a chance for that on and off flooding as we work our way through the day. So I want to break it down for you in a little bit more detail about the severe weather chance. I think it's very low. We don't really have a lot that's going on here. Our storm fuel, all in all, very low as we are working our way through today. Maybe mid to late afternoon, we get a little break from the rain. That would help things out. Low shear chance where you could have a little spin up down towards the southwest. I'm just mentioning it because it is there. And then the same thing for our low damaging wind risk. So it only covers 3 of our counties, all of Chester County, part of Lancaster, and over to York County. Here's a closer look at just focusing in on the storms. I think the window, if we do have any, is really between about 3 to 8 o'clock. And you can see it's a little bit more prevalent around Sparta, Spartanburg. I'm actually more concerned about the widespread rain that we're going to be seeing in between, because the rain rates at times could be about a ½ inch per hour. And I want to show you what some of the model data is showing. Check out this one. This one shows that through the course of today, up until 4 p.m., we're picking up anywhere from up to 1 to 2 inches of rain. But if you factor in the rain through the overnight, it actually goes off the charts for the North Carolina mountains. And I think they're under the biggest flood prone compared to all of us. And that's why we're really staying weather aware. And that's why the mountains are the first ones under that flash flood watch going forward. Also, our rainfall forecast, the contour will catch up to this, but 3 to 6 inches realistically is a possibility here in the Appalachian Mountains from Asheville up to Morganton. You can see that little ribbon there, closer to what, 1 to 2 plus. I think we could have some localized 2 to 3 inch marks when all is said and done across the Charlotte area, and about 2 to 4 off towards the northeast. And this all correlates to where our flood map is aligning. So again, flood watch through today, through your Tuesday. Charlotte, just a lot of rain, which we desperately need to help cure some of this drought. And also watch out that if we had some gustier winds from any of these thunderstorms, yeah, we could have a down tree or two. So we're weather alert today specifically because today is the most widespread rain. Widespread rain through this morning. That's where much of it's going to fall, up to an inch by the middle of the afternoon for most of us. And then by the afternoon, better chance for a scattered and break from the rain. But it's going to still be heavy from place to place. Then scattered to widespread rain overnight tonight. Scattered to widespread rain at times through your Tuesday with, I think, a better chance for some drier slots. And then Wednesday is the leftover on the backside of this system. By the end of it, we immediately flip the switch from a wet spring day to a on and off wet summer day. Close to 90 degrees on Friday. Best chance for rain during the PGA at Quail Hollow. Saturday, that will be a pop-up shower storm during the afternoon. Seeing a lot more icons popping up for you, Majestic. How's our commute faring?
You know, starting to see some slowdowns, that's for sure. Want to show you some of our drive times. If you're coming in from Matthews, heading towards Charlotte, that'll take you about 24 minutes to get there. From Waxhaw to Charlotte, about 39. So kind of seeing our typical slow and go commute as you're heading out the door. Live look outside. You can see out there towards Lake Norman, it is a dreary and wet start to the day there. So just take it easy across the area roadways because, yeah, we do have those wet conditions, but this is I-77. Everyone coming in from South Carolina, this is York County, starting to still see actually some patchy fog for some of you. Still seeing a very active live traffic map though. We want to show you this one where there is a disabled vehicle, but there's also a crash at Moorhead Street, a crash near Berkeley Ave. As we zoom it out and talk about this accident, I'm actually seeing some bigger impacts there, anywhere from medium to slow moving conditions. This is I-485, the outer loop being impacted by this. This is at exit 36 Rocky River Road. We have a couple more accidents that I want to let you know about. I'll let you know about them coming up in just a few. Lisa.
Thanks, Majestic. Did you know back in 1956, Elvis Presley performed at the Carolina Theater in Uptown Charlotte?
As you can imagine, each night was a sellout. WCNC Charlotte's Larry Sprinkle introduces us to a native Charlottean who was there for that show.
It was February 10th, 1956. Thousands stood in line right here to see Elvis Presley at the Carolina Theater.
It was a moment that rocked Charlotte and the Carolina Theater nearly 70 years ago when a young Elvis Presley lit up the stage and stole the hearts of hundreds, including Charlottean Judy Walters, who still remembers the show like it was yesterday.
Do you remember anything he said either during the concert or that day?
No, he seemed nervous. He probably was nervous.
Yeah.
And like the All Shook Up, even though he didn't sing that song, but later on it made me think about that. And those rubber legs made me think he was probably nervous.
On that day in 1956, the Carolina Theater became the epicenter of something extraordinary. A 21-year-old Elvis Presley, just starting to make waves in the music world, gave the crowd there something to scream about. Judy was only 12 at the time.
It was just so much excitement because it was absolutely new to me. And knowing that I couldn't watch it on television, and this was my first experience of really seeing someone live, and it was just amazing.
This was the only appearance Elvis ever made at the Carolina Theater, but the impact of that show lives on. For Judy Walters and so many others, it's a time they'll never forget.
When Elvis performed, they had announced after he finished singing that any of you girls would like a kiss, just meet Elvis backstage, line up.
Are you serious?
I'm serious.
You could go backstage.
We lined up.
To kiss Elvis.
To kiss Elvis. That long line. And I was here with a few of my girlfriends. And one of them was really brave. You know, she was kind of outspoken. But me, I was kind of shy. I was shy, not kind of. So when they were lined up and each turn got their kiss, they just kept going next. So when my turn came, and I looked at him and I kind of got close to his, his face, and I can't do this. I was so shy. So I turned to my girlfriend, Kay Biggerstaff at that time, and I said, "You're going to have to take my kiss." So she, "Oh yeah," so I get 2 kisses. Yeah.
So you didn't really get kissed by Elvis?
I didn't kiss by Elvis, but I think I let my lips kind of breeze by.
Even before he recorded his biggest hits, Elvis Presley on stage here at the Carolina Theater. Back in time right there.
That is a time back in time.
Let his lips breeze by. Wow.
A line to kiss Elvis.
The fact that they invited people to actually come up there and get a kiss from Elvis.
Wow. Yeah, that's a different time.
The thing is, in this theater, that performance, he only had one big hit at that time. That's a song called That's All Right Mama. It was later in the year that he had Hound Dog and Jailhouse Rock and all those songs.
Really?
And he came to the Coliseum that summer. So the only time at the Carolina Theater, which is magnificent. If you haven't been there, it's amazing to see that right now.
Now newly reopened.
But thanks to Judy Walters, great job. And then that breeze by kiss right there.
I love it.
Thank you very much. Good to be here.
Good to be back again for a while.
Great to have you, as always, Larry.
All right, folks, we're going to take a quick break. And coming up in just about a minute, we'll have another check of your forecast and your morning commute. Then we're back with the headlines at 7:30 right here on WCNC Plus.
Well, good morning, everyone. It's raining. Have the boots, have the rain jacket, the umbrella. All 3 will be good for today, especially this morning. This morning, widespread rain, so it will rain for the next several hours. Mid to the upper 60s to around 70 degrees is our pinnacle, our high temperatures for the day. Check it out. That's 10 o'clock. Not much movement. Still anywhere from moderate to heavy rain. Best case scenario is only a light rain shower, but we do see a little improvement. I think heading into the afternoon, you have most active rain still northeast. A little bit of break in the actions possible by the middle of the afternoon, but still on and off rain will be possible. And then we shift to heavier rain to the western side of the Carolinas. So on and off rain, and that's the reason why we're weather alert today, because we have a chance for some flash flooding, but also areas southwest as we hit that little dry sector. Any developing storm actually could turn into a severe thunderstorm. So that's an outside chance on top of the already flooding threat. On and off rain through Tuesday and Wednesday. Majestic, what's going on?
Oh, it is a busy start to our Monday morning, that's for sure. Area roadways are just really wet at this point. You can see a live look here. This is Tyvola Road. Cars are definitely moving slowly. Yeah, we have more traffic at this point, but also I think people are just driving for the conditions because of all the rain that's currently coming down and will continue to fall throughout the day. This accident is the biggest one you'll want to know about. It's right here, I-485. The outer loop is being impacted at Rocky River Road.
Live on WCNC Plus at 7:30 on this Monday morning. I'm Lisa Washington.
And I'm Ben Thompson. Happening today, Charlotte's future taking shape, and city leaders want your input.
Officials will discuss 14 new community area plans that could transform neighborhoods for decades to come. WCNC Charlotte's Destiny Richards is live this morning with what's at stake and how you can have a say. Destiny.
Yeah, Charlotte just continues to grow. So city leaders are basically trying to figure out a long-term strategy to guide what that growth is going to look like. And today at the Charlotte City Council meeting, you have a chance to weigh in on these plans. Now, the 14 community area plans were released in early April, each outlining a detailed vision for specific sections of Charlotte. The plans provide guidance on development, infrastructure, and land use, all in alignment with the city's 2040 comprehensive plan. For example, in East Charlotte, one key focus is the intersection of Plaza Road and W.T. Harris Boulevard, where the city sees room for safer streets, walkability, and new development opportunities. And on Orr Road and Old Concord Road, a potential future innovation district designed to support jobs, research, and high-tech mixed-use development. Advocacy groups say the vision in these plans is promising, but emphasize that turning these concepts into reality will take time.
Great stuff, but it's aspirational. Like we've seen time and time again, not just in East Charlotte, but throughout the city, projects that are put on paper, it might take Kids of Eastland 30 years to come to fruition.
And city planners say that these renderings are just possibilities. Nothing is set in stone. Those final plans will depend on a couple of factors like community input, of course, that's a really important one, as well as funding and market conditions and several other factors as well. So if you want to take part in the community input part of it, the way to do that is to show up to this public hearing happening tonight. It's at 5 p.m. during the Charlotte City Council meeting. I'll send it back to you guys live here from Uptown.
It's not often that you feel like you get a say of how your little corner of the city is developed and how it grows. Well, this is actually your chance to be a part of it.
They want to hear from the people who live there.
And Destiny, you mentioned that some of these projects could take decades. Do we know if any of specific parts of the city are likely to see those changes sooner rather than later?
Yeah, so the Eastland Yards development is a perfect case in point. So that is a specific project that has taken time, but as we know, those first apartments that are a part of the development are set to open soon. But if you look at these community area plans on the website, it's actually really interesting. So the Planning, Design, and Development Department through the city came up with all of this, and it was a multi-phase effort. If you look at it, it doesn't just split up Charlotte in terms of north, east, west, and south, but north inner, north middle, and outer. So it's a couple of sections, and what they came up with is basically a profile of each area. They came up with, what are the biggest area needs? What needs to be prioritized? What are existing infrastructure projects that are on the way and programs that could support what the greatest needs are, as well as be in alignment with the 2040 plan. And for example, in the section for East Inner Charlotte and East Middle and Outer Charlotte, one of the common greatest needs for both sections was access to housing. So case in point there, Eastland Yards, that fits right into that plan there. So each individual, concept and plan that would lead to the needs being met of each of these areas of Charlotte, that'll go through its own processes for how it gets approved. As we know, Eastland Yards took a while to come to fruition. So this is really a broad overlook of what do I want my neighborhood, what needs need to be served in my neighborhood, from transportation to job market to things like that. And then from there, it'll be more specific in terms of what projects actually come to life. And that could take decades, and some of them could be right around the corner as well.
All right, Destiny Richards, live for us. Destiny, thanks.
All right, well, check it out. There's a lot of heavy rain down towards the south. So we've been talking about your flood potential, and this is especially positioned down towards the south. And that's where we've been seeing prolonged rain, anywhere from 1/4 to 1/2 inch plus per hour. So I really want to focus in on this band of rain because it's this that's coming up to the north, will swing back to the northwest. That's where we're going to have our highest flooding potential. And the way that things are positioning, this will impact the western Carolinas closer to the mountains, more so than, say, areas east of I-77 initially. We've already seen what's happened upstream, where the storm is coming from. An estimated anywhere from 3 to 7 inches of rain has fallen over the last couple of days, and some of that has really come over the last several hours. That's why we have multiple flash flood warnings that continue to build one after another. I think there could be another one right in this area just southwest of Chester County. So parts of Chester County and York County, especially the western side, you are going to have a higher flood potential really going forward over the next few hours. All of us dealing with widespread rain. The only gap that we have in the coverage right now is around Anson and Richmond County. I think that's going to be filled in fairly shortly as well. So that's, again, why we only have a flood watch for some of our area. Not everyone is seeing this. So the North Carolina mountains, best chance for this, where everything is going to be setting up. And then meanwhile, you also have flash flood watches east and northeast of the area. That's from another round of rain that we can expect by tomorrow. So flooding is going to be possible wherever you look. You can see for our next 48-hour rain totals, by 6 o'clock alone today, we could have 2 to 3 inches for the mountains. I think many of us getting up to about an inch when all this is said and done. Here's what it looks like on our future cast, seeing widespread rain, at times quite heavy downpours we've already been seeing, and it's been affecting your morning commute so far. And then as we head into the early afternoon, this is where things start to shift ever so slightly. You have the heaviest rain this time now east, but it's at this point, it's either going to be one of 3 scenarios. 1, you dry out and you actually have no accumulating rain. 2, you still have some mist and drizzle that's left over in between. Or 3, you have another shower or thunderstorm that starts to develop in between. Once we stop the widespread rain, it's in between here. This warm sector of the storm is going to allow for some scattered showers and storms, especially the further west that you go, where the Storm Prediction Center does have a sliver of our area under this low chance for severe storms. I'm talking about it's really low. I think the big threat is the flooding. But look what happens by about the middle of the afternoon. That training rain, those bands of rain that I was pointing out down towards the south, starts to work its way to the north. Now, if it hits a little slightly drier environment, it could fire up some severe status, but I think it's really one storm after another that keeps that rain conveyor belt around, and that's the perfect recipe for widespread flooding. By Tuesday, things are a little bit more tame. That's the reason why today we're weather alert compared to weather alert status by tomorrow. Our flood potential is highest today because today has most of the rain. This is the wettest day of the week. By tomorrow, you still have a chance for a thunderstorm that could dump a quick inch of rain. That's going to be a flash flooding issue, and that'll quickly pop up. But it's once this warm sector rolls through that I think it's more of a scattered environment, likely chance still to see rain compared to widespread hours of rain like what we have today. So here's 8 a.m. for tomorrow's futurecast. Even a slight chance that you do see the sun tomorrow. Today, not expecting really much sunshine. Overall, it's an overcast day. All levels of the atmosphere. At most, you have maybe a bright cloudy day, you know what I'm talking about, where at least you can maybe see where the sun relatively is, but most likely it's going to be an overcast day looking like it's going to rain. Here's 10 p.m. on Tuesday, so thunderstorms could jog into the overnight, and then we'll have scattered rain also through your Wednesday. And at that point, we're going to start to warm up after the system leaves us. Cloudy to wet, on and off over the next 3 days. Again, today, the weather highlighter, the weather alert day, also the coolest day. A lot of adjectives and superlatives that go along for today. Once this system clears out, Thursday we see the sun return, but also we head into a summertime pattern. We're going to be near 90 degrees on Friday, and it will feel like the lower 90s, so you have a heat index as well. Each day has a slight chance for a pop-up shower and thunderstorm. Because of that, the usual July pattern, and then the mid-80s with a better chance for thunderstorms on Saturday. That's the most likely day that they will have rain for the PGA at Quail Hollow. Not a great morning, meaning not a great traffic morning, Majestic.
No, not really. Seeing a lot of rain out there, also just kind of soggy conditions, and ultimately that's slowing down those drive times. Here's a look at what's going on from Gastonia into Charlotte. Just under 50 minutes to get you there, seeing lots of orange popping up, indicating your typical slow and go morning commute. Not only are we seeing that in our drive times, but also as we take a live look outside, you can see traffic is just moving moving slowly. That's Tyvola Road. Multiple accidents also popping up this morning on our live traffic maps. Want to take you out to this one. I've been keeping a close eye on it now for quite some time. It's a crash on I-485. It's impacting those outer loops, and it's over towards exit 36 Rocky River Road. So seeing all of that red indicating that big backup there. If you're wondering what all this green is, that's indicating that the roads are just wet all across the area. And also another accident that's ongoing over towards Brookshire Boulevard. Crash at Pleasant Grove Road. Not seeing any major slowdowns there. And then also here, there's a crash at Highway 160 West Boulevard at Hullabird Lane. Now, coming up in just a few minutes, we're going to take a couple more live looks outside showing you those wet roads and how it may be impacting your morning commute. Lisa.
Thanks, Majestic. Happening today, a new community kitchen is going to be serving up some healthy habits in our area.
That's right. The Nutrition Kitchen is offering free classes to help people make better food choices. WCNC Charlotte's Miles Harris now live here on WCNC Plus with a look at the new facility in West Charlotte. And Miles, this is a major addition to this neighborhood.
It absolutely is there, Ben and Lisa, but it's so much more than just a nutrition kitchen, but a teaching kitchen, where the goal is simple but powerful: to improve health and wellness by providing and promoting both healthy eating and lifestyles, as well by an interactive but also engaging way.
The latest community resource in Charlotte is offering something that many neighborhoods desperately need: free nutrition education and healthy cooking demonstrations.
And focusing on what the patient's normal eating, daily eating habits are, but making adjustments to what and how they can prepare it to work to their benefit.
Monique Weeks, one of the directors at the C.W. Williams Community Health Center, says the kitchen will host classes focusing on everything from meal preparation to seasonal food choices.
We want to make you see what you can actually become, your stature, how you feel inside, which typically makes you feel better on the outside. We're just trying to make that change.
Channeling healthy food options and building a healthier community, one cooking class at a time.
We can do so many things in the community. We're just ready to make change. The goal is to be healthier. The goal is to be happier, because when you're not.
Ben and Lisa, and what makes this program and this edition really so unique for the Charlotte community is not only do they offer those classes here in person for people to come in and get those cooking classes and really that nutrition aspect of it as well, but they also offer these classes available online and in that interactive way for this to give people a chance to take full benefits for this new program. Now, the unveiling for this nutrition kitchen is actually going to unveil and open today at 2 o'clock, but really organizers here at the C.W. Williams Community Health Center are really looking forward to seeing the impact that this edition has for our Charlotte community. Ben and Lisa.
And Miles, we know that it's great that the people are going to have access to these classes, whether in person or online. But do you know if they will focus on affordable meal options? We've been talking about the rising costs of grocery, and some families have a tight budget. What about making these affordable meal choices?
That's a really good question there, Lisa. So this is not only going to offer those healthy cooking options, but they're also going to give those affordable cooking options for families throughout this community as well, really giving those answers to when it comes to what these herbs and spices, for example, might mean for when you're putting these meals together. But what are the best options for that when you're going through those grocery aisles as well, really making sure that you're getting the most bang for your buck when you're at the grocery store, but also making sure that you're not squeezing every penny out of your wallet as well, guys.
All right. Thank you, Miles. Well, we are now in peak season for severe weather across the U.S., but there are growing fears this morning that cuts to the National Weather Service and NOAA are putting more lives in danger. Just recently, NOAA announced it will stop tracking the cost of weather disasters, including floods, heat waves, wildfires, and more.
The cuts could lead to fewer forecasters watching the skies. NBC News meteorologist Chase Kane has the story.
Right at dinner time on April 17th, we have a tornado warning issued for Pottawatomie County. Supercell storms started producing tornadoes across eastern Nebraska.
I was really scared last night.
Our Omaha affiliate reporting homes and cars badly damaged, windows blown out, roofs ripped off, one family caught off guard.
We didn't think anything of it, and then my wife started screaming at me, so we hightailed it to the basement, and it was about 20 seconds after he got down there that it ripped through.
Luckily, everyone survived, but with only seconds to spare, is it possible they could have gotten an earlier warning? What we do know from an official bulletin is that the Omaha National Weather Service office didn't have enough staff to launch regular weather balloons that day. Only one instead of two, which meant their data was hours old and only showed the threat of hail, not tornadoes.
And that's impossible to forecast when and where. Not having that data could have saved a life or created a warning that had greater lead time. But if you do it over and over and over again, I can promise you that not having that data is going to be a problem when it comes to forecasting.
And it's all because of a political tornado. DOJ federal employee buyouts and cuts earlier this year, leading to that, quote, lack of office staffing. And now, in a rare move, every living former director of the National Weather Service, dating back to President Reagan, is warning that President Trump's proposal to cut NOAA funding by nearly 30% will lead to a, quote, needless loss of life. We reached out to the White House, and a Commerce spokesperson said, in part, NOAA does not anticipate any disruptions in services as a result of staff reorganizations, and the NWS will continue to meet its mission of ensuring public safety amid critical weather events. But a former NWS director disagrees.
We are generating kind of a Swiss cheese weather service. We have holes throughout the weather service now that are not well thought out.
Republican Congressman Mike Flood represents the area hit by those 6 tornadoes on April 17th with a short-staffed weather office. So he called the White House to get more meteorologists to Omaha.
For decades, the National Weather Service personnel have not been classified as public safety. They are clearly public safety, and that's something that we need to do in Congress.
The last NOAA administrator, Rick Spinrad, also tallied that so far, staff cuts have cost the Weather Service 7,000 years of collective experience.
It's like having incoming missiles and not being able to tell anyone when they're coming or where they're coming.
A NOAA spokesperson told NBC News work is underway to restore services at local forecast offices around the country.
There are things in NOAA that I'm sure could be improved, but you don't do that improvement with a hatchet and just randomly cut large chunks. Weather in this nation should not be a political issue.
Yeah, he mentions not do it with a hatchet. Many will say things like this should be done with a scalpel.
Yes.
For precision.
Definitely.
Because, as they point out, people's lives can be at risk.
And I have to say that this has probably been my worst spring forecasting. And the reason why is a couple of reasons. Number one, they cut the rent for a lot of data centers. So the ones that we use, they're updated, are changing hourly. So they're not consistent. This is the least consistency that I've had so far.
Right.
And then just all in all, in general, there's times I've reached out to our National Weather Service offices, and I've heard of Blacksburg, Virginia, covering for GSP. So it's the lack of details there. The Storm Prediction Center, I think, is the lack of type. They're kind of doing like a cover their own A type of mentality, just because they want to say, well, we're going to put them into a low risk just in case. So I think it's less accuracy that we've had on the umbrella.
Right.
And my biggest concern here is going forward, every single year we have the $1 billion disasters claimed. This year's hurricanes are not going to make the list. So we're not going to be able to say Helene was the 7th costliest, because the funding that came from this division that you're going to see in a graphic here is going to be expunged. Maybe you have a third tier that's going to look at this, but this is how we compare our different hurricanes. This is how insurance brokers are going to be able to claim certain areas. There's going to be big gaps in coverage. There's going to be certain areas that are going to be more in flood-prone areas that aren't covered just because they don't have the data. They don't know how costly these are. So a lot of the research that's done for climate, how things are changed, are not happening in 2025. So that's disappointing that this list that I'm making right here, I'm not going to have from the NCEI, that's environmental information, in 2025.
And what do we, and if you don't know the answer, that's fine, but what do we gain from not keeping track of it? Like, is it a money-saving thing?
It's a money-saving thing.
Gotcha, okay.
Yeah, because and at this point, and there's external sources, and I really don't want to get myself in trouble here, is that essentially you took out the main keys that were showing that the climate is changing.
So it's making sort of what you do, I guess, more difficult. You can do your own forecasting, but it's helpful if you have this data to kind of help with your research for forecasting.
Well, and also, like, in general, like Helene, you see on this list is the 7th costliest hurricane on record, and this is based on the 2024 Consumer Price Index, so it changes every year with inflation and things like that.
Sure. Right.
I don't have an updated 2025 list to see how these numbers are changing. And whatever storms that we have on here, I'm not going to be able to accurately measure how the storms this year compare to others. So 2025 is going to seem like not a bad year, even on paper, because we don't have these numbers associated with the storm.
I see.
We don't have that type of research data. So on the surface, you're like, well, it doesn't really matter. It's just after the fact in the storm. It's like, no, all this in general is research that improves our forecasting ability and insurance for areas and protection for areas going forward.
Because you see the severity of what happened with the past storm.
No, exactly. So it's one of those things. You might just think it's numbers. It might be just like a fancy fact, but it's a big gap in coverage. So I'm hoping that changes. But for right now, that's kind of an example. I'm hoping that we have no big hurricanes. We don't have to worry about it. But c'est la vie. That's the way it is. We move on. As far as our models are going, they're kind of behaving a little bit better for today. You have widespread rain down towards the south. Now, our radar data is working just fine. You can see widespread rain that are working its way further off towards the north and then bending back to the northwest. This will be a heavy downpour from time to time, but all in all, we're looking at that light to moderate rainfall. But it's right in this area. Look at that. Widespread rain we've already seen over the last 24 to 36 hours, up to about 7 inches of rain. This is going to continue to work its way off towards the north and then bend back towards the northwest. So I wouldn't be surprised if we have another flash flood warning. This will now be the 4th in a row that we've seen so far. This one's right around Calhoun, Lexington, Orangeburg County, close to the Columbia area, because this area is seeing anywhere from 1/4 inch to 3/4 of an inch of rain per hour. So that's adding up to a couple inches every few hours. And then it's this area here, I would say through Gaffney up into Cleveland County, that I think we're going to see some of the worst impact. So Cleveland County, I'm specifically zeroing you out. Even though you're not technically under the flood watch, I still think that you could be added a little bit later on. So it's going to be widespread rain heading up into the mountains. This is the most flood-prone area. Also, as these systems start to ride up the mountains, they actually produce more rain, so it becomes a little bit heavier, and that's why the mountains are usually a little bit more prone to this. And then the eastern zones, you're seeing another band of rain that's, I think, going to last a little bit longer, so you're seeing actually more rain through this area of North Carolina compared to Charlotte, where it's actually going to head into a nice little dry slot. So how much rain do we see? Well, it depends on the hour, it depends on the area. In general, I think you're seeing up to an inch, inch and a half across Charlotte, but then you see anywhere from about 1 to 2 to 2.5 inches close to the Albemarle area. A lot more here by tomorrow morning. So here's what it looks like hour by hour throughout today. This morning, widespread washout. Not going to see any dry slots, but then heading in the middle of the afternoon, you're going to start to see a little break in the coverage. Spotty showers, on and off rain is going to be a possibility. And then even in the middle of the afternoon, even if you have a break in the rain, I'm not saying that you're going to be dry for the rest of the afternoon. I think that you're still going to have a pop-up shower or thunderstorm that continues to push through. You're going to have on and off showers and thunderstorms, especially the further west that you go, and some of those could even be strong to severe, where the Storm Prediction Center has put us on the fringe, the outside chance that any area in the yellow, and then also give or take a few miles, this could also nudge up into Cleveland County, because I think that you should be included in some of this. That's where you could see a stronger storm mid to late afternoon heading into the evening hours. And then if this scenario comes up, and we've already seen this through the central parts of South Carolina, just west of Columbia, that's where you're going to have the widespread rain, and there's a likely chance you're going to have more of those flash flood warnings as well. That's why we're under a flood watch. Over the next 36 hours, tomorrow the big change is we have a warm front that starts to nudge into the area. This will bring on and off rain through your Tuesday, but there's a better chance for some drier hours compared to today. Today, mainly wet hours compared to dry, and then I think it's the opposite tomorrow. But at times you could still have rain for several hours, and at times you're also going to have some heavier downpours. This eventually starts to wind down through your Wednesday, and then we transition to another part of the forecast. The mid to the upper 80s to around 90 degrees. So this could potentially be the warmest day of 2025 on Friday. Drier forecast overall, kind of a summertime pattern. You have a chance for an isolated pop-up shower or thunderstorm. Slightly better chance for that this coming Saturday. It's quite the week, ups and downs all across the board, and quite the morning commute. Majestic.
Yeah, definitely. Whether you're traveling in North or South Carolina, we're definitely seeing those backups and those weather impacts as well. Here's a live look. I-77 at Tyvola Road. You can see cars are moving slowly because congestion is definitely ongoing at this time. Not just there, but we're also seeing those slowdowns out there towards South Carolina. This is I-77 mile marker 82, and the cameras are showing you how wet it is. The raindrops still coming down, and watch for some pooling out there, some puddles that also could lead to some hydroplaning if you're not being careful. We are seeing those widespread rain impacts, but as we take it on home, we're seeing also numerous accidents for your Monday morning commute. Let's talk about this one. If you typically take southbound lanes on I-85 to perhaps get on I-77 to head towards the uptown direction, well, we definitely have some slow moving conditions. All of this red really indicating that an accident on Statesville Road at Hutchinson and McDonald's Road. And then as we zoom it on down just a bit, I want to show you perspective on I-77, both inbound and outbound lanes really congested, showing you all of that red again. And then Independence is just that time of the day where the congestion is really starting to build. One more accident that I want to highlight here. It's on Highway 160 West Boulevard. There is a crash at Hollibird Lane. Minimal impacts there, but really for the most part, the traffic is definitely picking up as it is almost 8 a.m.
Got to be careful with all those wet roads. Thanks, Majestic. Right now, we are going to take a quick break, but you keep it right here on WCNC Plus. We're going to have another update on weather and traffic in just 2 minutes, and then we'll have the day's top headlines starting back at the top of the hour.
Well, not a great day, being honest with you. 100% chance for rain. We're all seeing rain right now, and your best case scenario is it's a very light rain to a drizzle. Other than that, it will be moderate to heavy at times, so a torrential downpour embedded within these showers. Temperatures right now, 65, 66. We'll get to around 70 in the upper 60s, and then we'll have a little break in the rain a little bit later on. But through the morning, complete washout. It's really not until early to mid-afternoon that we even have a chance for just a cloudy sky instead of widespread rain. But then at that point, you have scattered showers and even a blossoming thunderstorm. And then we'll continue to see on and off rain through the overnight. So today is a weather alert day just because of the flash flooding potential, and then on and off showers and storms for your Tuesday. Same thing for Wednesday. After that, we switched more to a summertime pattern, mid to the upper 80s, near 90 on Friday. Slight chance for rain, best chance for rain during the tournament that's coming up for the PGA on Saturday. Majestic, what's going on?
All right, well, those roads are picking up on this Monday morning, and boy, it is a rainy start to the day. You can see how wet those roads are. This is I-77 at Tyvola Road. You can see cars are out there for sure, but they are moving slowly. We do have numerous accidents this morning. The most important one and most impactful one for your morning commute is going to be right here. Let's take you on in. I want to zoom it in. It's impacting I-85 northbound lanes right before exit 43 at University City Boulevard. So make sure you allow for extra drive time.
Live now at 8 a.m. right here on WCNC Plus. Thanks for joining us. I'm Ben Thompson.
And I'm Lisa Washington, taking a live look at Lake Norman this morning. We are weather alert today as more rain moves into our area. Chris is going to have a check on your forecast coming up in just a few minutes. But first, we want to get to this.
Yeah, happening today, Weddington town leaders set to vote on the next steps for a controversial development we've talked about for a while now. Supporters say it would bring more homes. Neighbors worry about the environmental impacts.
WCNC Charlotte's Richard Devane joins us live to break down those concerns, and the neighbors have several concerns. Richard.
Yeah, that's correct, Lisa. Good morning, Lisa. Good morning, Ben. Good Monday morning, everyone. Basically, a lot of folks here in Weddington know that developments are important in this area as it continues to grow, but they're concerned about this proposed development. They say building those luxury homes by the Toll brothers has been somewhat controversial, and it has sparked a lot of debate in Weddington. Now, that plan includes constructing 62 high-end homes on 167 acres right along Weddington Road. While some residents acknowledge that the development is inevitable, others say they need to be a more responsible approach. The project includes plans for a community wastewater treatment plant, which has raised environmental concerns. Opponents argued that the system posed risks to local wildlife and water quality. Additionally, residents expressed concerns about increased traffic congestion on Weddington Road and a lack of adequate infrastructure, as well as potential strain on local schools. Now, in response, the Toll brothers have made some revisions, but overall, some residents say they're still skeptical, while others agree with the plans. Of course, that vote takes place tonight. We spoke to residents who weighed in on both sides. Take a listen.
We saw 8 eagles out on different trees in our neighborhood. It's been concerns about that, plus Toll Brothers has had issues in the town as far as stormwater runoff. Lake's been damaged in another neighborhood in Bromley, erosion runoff. So we have 2 large lakes that this wildlife thrives on.
I believe that the eagles have just been weaponized, not building within 660 feet of the eagle's nest, and we have the Fish and Wildlife Bureau has signed off on this.
And again, that meeting takes place tonight at 7 on the agenda. It's listed as an old item, but I'm sure it's one that everyone here in Weddington will be paying attention to. Guys?
And Richard, we know that there's so many opinions. I think at one point they moved the location for one of the meetings just for the public comment, but they have made some changes to the original plan, yes?
Yeah, that's absolutely correct, Lisa, that you mentioned that one of the things was the wastewater treatment plant. They were going to have a group or community septic systems. Now they've gone to individual septic systems, and that's one of the revisions they made. Originally, they were going to have 93 homes in this development. They've gone down to 62. We'll see if these changes they made are enough to sway that board into moving forth with their zoning.
All right, Richard, thanks so much. We'll let our viewers know tomorrow morning once we know.
That's right. All right, now to your forecast. Stay weather impact alert today. Chris joins us right now. Chris, the other side to this rain that we've seen recently, including today, how are we doing as far as the drought goes?
Okay, so this is a great question because we're not there yet, but this rain is going to be huge. So let me explain. January, February, March, April, all below normal months as far as rainfall goes, and our yearly total is now over 12.5 inches of rain. This is about 3 inches off for where we should be for this time of year, but look at May already, and this isn't even factoring in the rain we've seen so far today. We're nearly about 1.5 inches above normal. We've seen over 2.5 inches of rain so far, and we're looking at rain totals across today and tomorrow upwards to about 2 to 3 inches of rain. So we're going to be pretty close that we're almost into a surplus of rain by the end of this event. So by the time we get a new update from the drought monitor coming up this coming Thursday, I think it's going to be cut in half. So that's great news as well. Some areas even out of drought status just to abnormally dry. So I like the improvements there, but I don't like some scenarios because we can have what's called training storms. Let me explain. One storm after another can create an outflow boundary that a new storm starts to form in that environment, especially when it's a little bit warmer. We don't have this per definition today as far as individual cells, but we do have this as far as one cell after another that is going to allow some areas to see double to triple the amount of rain that others we'll see across our WCNC viewing area. So for example, here in Charlotte, I think we're still going to see upwards to about 2 inches across the next couple of days. I think areas west are going to see storm after storm after storm that's going to lead to a little bit more widespread. So I want to get to our 7-day forecast first before I go through our future cast. Today is the day that stands out from all the rest. It's the only one that we have a weather alert day. This is also the coolest. It'll be the cloudiest as well and the wettest by far. We're going to have on and off showers and storms for your Tuesday. For your Wednesday, we will see some passing rain, but the PGA at Quail Hollow officially starts on Thursday. Yes, there's a lot of the pre-fan events. Not a good day for it today. There will be some dry spots by tomorrow, but it's not until Saturday that we have a next best chance for scattered showers and storms. It's actually going to feel a little bit more summer-like because we have the right storm fuel. Recently, we've been dealing with some, hey, it's a really comfortable day. I'm not going to use the word comfortable to describe any of the days going forward. And ladies, I am so sorry, not great hair days on some of these days as well, especially today. Temperatures are going to be on the rise into the upper 80s to around 90 degrees, but that's a dew point near 70. So it's also going to be a humid 90. C'est la vie, so it begins. So we're going to be back into that pattern, just letting you know. This is definitely going to be more of a changeover to summertime and what's going on. I also want to direct your attention for the near term. So going back to our radar, so I'm doing things a little out of order here on WCNC Plus to prove a point. I mentioned actually just 30 minutes ago that, hey, we could have another flash flood warning, and we are seeing it now. Now, this is the one that's closest to us. This is now south of us, just around Chester County. So here's the deal. Your flash flood warning, this one right here is going to go until 9:45. I think that this trend is going to continue because now you in Chester, you are now actively seeing some of that heavier rain. And look at what we've already seen so far. These rain rates are anywhere from up to a ½ inch to 3/4 inch per hour. So that's going to be the upper end threshold. So now it's right now that we're seeing the heaviest rainfall that's pushing into the western side of Chester County. So I think it's really anywhere along 321 going forward, the western side of York County, and then eventually into Cleveland County over the next 2 to 3 hours where you're expecting the heaviest rain. And there could be some flash flooding that are associated with this, because this is the beginning. You have heavy rain already, and then you're going to see it for hours because this is the most widespread batch that you're seeing down towards the south. That is all heading our general direction. So let's go through it hour by hour. This futurecast that I'm about to show you actually has the worst case scenario as far as the most rain, the training rain. So let's go through it. As we reach about the middle of the morning, that's where I think that we see some of the heaviest rain. So about 9 to 10, that heavier yellows are starting to work their way into the area. So I think you have more moderate to heavy showers than light rain in general. Also, this morning's a washout. It's not a, well, maybe we'll dry out. No. That's the potential later on this afternoon. This is at the point that we see widespread rain transitioning to more of a scattered status by about early to mid-afternoon. That first starts in some of those flood-prone areas right around Chester, over to Rock Hill, up to Shelby over the coming hours. And then at this point, so let's call it 3-4 o'clock, we have a better chance for an isolated thunderstorm, which could also produce some heavier rain, and one after another could also form. We actually see that to the west, right here around Spartanburg, that one shower after another rides up the slopes of the mountains, leading to the highest rain totals. Then we kind of take a break by tomorrow morning. Then you'll have on and off rain, on and off rain, on and off rain, heading through your Tuesday night, heading into Wednesday. So stay weather aware, everyone. Again, today is weather alert throughout the day. Slight chance for a strong storm and a lot of rain over the next 48 to 72 hours. And a wet road is not a great road. Let's see how our traffic's faring with Majestic.
All right, want to show you a live look outside. This is I-85 at University City Boulevard. You can see there is an ongoing accident there. We're going to get to those details, but I just want to put this into perspective. That traffic is really moving slowly because of ongoing accidents. We do have very wet roads. People are trying to take it easy, I think, for the most part, but really we have a lot of slowdowns. Our live traffic map also showing you a whole lot of red out there. Let's zoom it on into a few of these to highlight the ones that are majorly impacting our morning commute. First things first, another accident at Statesville Road at Hutchinson and McDonald. And then in addition to that, as we look over towards just the east, 2 lanes blocked due to the crash on I-85. Northbound lanes are being impacted, and that's at University City Boulevard that I just showed you that live look of. So slow moving conditions, about a 10-minute delay there. And then just to the north, Sugar Creek Road, there's a crash at Highway 24, WT Harris Boulevard, seeing some medium impact impacts there. Let's take you through the uptown area. You can see all the red right along I-77, both inbound and outbound lanes. I mean, just really moving slowly because, yes, people are trying to get to where they need to be, but the weather surely isn't helping with that. In addition, we have one last accident I want to let you know about. It's on Highway 51, Pineville Matthews Roads. There's a crash at Carmel Drive, so we'll keep you up to date with that and show you those drive times coming up in just a few minutes. Ben.
All right. Majestic, thanks. 8:10 right now on WCNC Plus. Let's take a live look right now over U.S. futures right now. The market's set to open in a little more than an hour. Those indices in green right now before the market opens. Good news there. The market most likely reacting to news of a trade deal with China that could reduce tariffs.
It all comes as President Trump heads to the Middle East today to help negotiate a ceasefire in the Israel-Gaza war. NBC's Alice Barr has the latest from Washington this morning.
Combine it, and anybody should have known.
President Trump traveling to the Middle East today for the first major foreign trip of his second term, expected to focus on business deals. As Trump administration and Chinese officials revealed new details about a trade deal negotiated this weekend, announcing a 90-day pause for most tariffs beginning Wednesday. The U.S. cutting tariffs on Chinese imports from 145 to 30%, China going from 125 to 10% on U.S. goods, while negotiations continue.
It's important to understand how quickly we were able to come to agreement, which reflects that perhaps the differences were not so large as maybe thought.
With growing concerns over tariff-induced price hikes, President Trump promising an executive order today to slash prescription drug prices by 30 to 80%. His Middle East trip comes amid signs of tension with Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu over how to approach aggression from Iran and the war in Gaza. After U.S.-Hamas negotiations, the last living American-Israeli hostage in Gaza, Idan Alexander, is expected to be released as soon as today. President Trump calling it hopefully the first and the final steps necessary to end this brutal conflict. The president not currently set to visit Israel this trip, stopping instead in Saudi Arabia, Qatar, and the United Arab Emirates, as the White House confirmed Qatar offered to donate what four sources call a super luxury jumbo jet to use as the new Air Force One. The sources say it would be transferred to the Trump Presidential Library Foundation at the end of his term. Critics, including top Senate Democrat Chuck Schumer, blasting the plan as bribery. President Trump defending what he calls a very public and transparent transaction.
A White House official told NBC News the jet would not be presented nor accepted while President Trump is in Qatar this week. The White House press secretary noting any gift accepted will be in full compliance with the law. In Washington, Alice Barr, NBC News.
Closer to home, today marks the start of the PGA Championship at Quail Hollow Club. This morning, CMPD sharing a few reminders before you head out to catch some of the world's top golfers. Police are expecting more than 250,000 fans to fill the South Charlotte golf course. They're urging attendees to plan ahead and arrive early. Glen Eagles Road will be closed during tournament play. You can also expect to see plenty of officers out on the course working to keep everyone safe. Now, you can avoid the traffic headaches this week by using free public transportation. CATS is offering free rides to the championship all week long. Just use the Blue Line station at the Sharon Road West Park and Ride. CATS will also offer bus services between the Park and Ride and Quail Hollow.
8:13 right now on WCNC Plus, and the issues continue this morning over at Newark Airport after a chaotic Mother's Day weekend. The ongoing problems now prompting lawmakers on Capitol Hill to take action this morning. NBC's Jessica Cunnington explains.
For a second time since Friday, equipment outages causing chaos at Newark Airport.
I was so nervous to fly into Newark.
Delays and cancellations stacking up here after a 45-minute ground stop Sunday morning due to what the FAA is calling a telecommunications issue at the Philadelphia Air Traffic Control Facility that manages Newark's flights. The madness on Mother's Day, the latest in a series of issues at this airport.
Our scope just went black again.
Friday, radar went black for 90 seconds at the Philadelphia facility. A similar situation happened back on April 28th, prompting a federal focus on modernizing the entire air traffic control system and addressing the nationwide controller shortage.
Overhauling the whole system, I think it's going to take a lot. Maybe we could just start with Newark.
Senator Chuck Schumer agrees.
Fix it. Fix it now. Newark must be number one in their priority scale.
Schumer says he wants old radar screens at Newark swapped out ASAP and is asking Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy for a clear timeline and cost of the overhaul plan he unveiled last week.
What we saw over the last few days is just scary. So if they fix Newark quickly, they can learn from it, and they can also assure the public that they're on top of things.
Secretary Duffy on Meet the Press this morning insists flying in and out of Newark right now is safe and necessary changes are coming.
I fly out of Newark all the time. My family flies out of Newark. Specifically in Newark, we believe we're going to have it up and running in short order. We're going to be able to fix that glitch.
Duffy says software glitches and telecommunications issues are to blame for the recent outages at Newark, and he is concerned it could happen at other airports across the country. For Jamerson Hamlin, whose Newark flight was delayed today, he's not too worried about safety.
I don't feel any type of way. I just want to get home.
Jessica Cunnington with that report. Well, did you feel this? A lot of people in the Southeast had a surprise wake-up call this weekend. Check out this video from a viewer in Cheryl's Ford. You can see her home shaking during Saturday's 4.1 magnitude earthquake. Now, the quake originated in Tennessee, just south of Knoxville. It was felt as far away as western North Carolina and Georgia. And Chris, I think you have a did you feel it map of how far it could be felt?
And I'm focusing here on the Charlotte area. Check this out. Did you feel it? So even though you might not have felt it in Mecklenburg County, a lot of us did. So it really depends on how your house is built. And there's also other little minor cracks can kind of escalate it for you. But a lot of us felt just those minor shaking. So you might be just looking at this and I was like, okay, well, what does this really show? It's really tough to see because I don't love the color coding that they use at the USGS. But this purple color just shows that you barely felt it. Any of these brighter blues that you're seeing here means that you actually had some real visible shaking, and that's spotty all over the place, including Mecklenburg County, Union County, Gaston County, for a lot of us. So yeah, another time that we felt an earthquake. Really the last time that we had one of this magnitude in the area was back in 2020. That was a Sparta earthquake that was a 4+. It's a 4.1 magnitude. Technically the epicenter was right around Greenback, Tennessee. So just wow. So that just really shows you we do see these occasionally, but noticing the last time that we had one of these was about 5 years ago. It's not that often. It's not like the California status. Moving on to the weather. Dallas, North Carolina, 1,450 feet up in the atmosphere. This is actually pretty cool because you're seeing two different decks of clouds. Number one, you have all these low-level cumulus and stratus clouds. That's oftentimes indicated from the fog that's down there. You can sometimes have it lifting up evaporating moisture. It creates more clouds, but then we physically have our head in the clouds, which is an active rain cloud that's pushing up here in Dallas. So here's a quick look at the rain. I'm going to step off because I'm really going to be driving the radar because I want to show you what's coming, what's going to come, and then the general scenario for us. Case enclosed. It's going to be a wet morning. I'm talking about rain throughout the rest of this morning, but I'm especially concerned for this widespread rain that we're seeing down here to the south. I'm going to put this into a loop. I actually want to show you the last 5 hours or so. So we're going to do kind of a little bit more of a case study compared to your typical forecast. What you're seeing here, and hold on, let me just turn this off. For our the map you can see here, notice all the rain that has rolled through down towards the south. These are active flood advisories, and a chance for a flash flood warning is also going to be embedded in here. So that is a flash flood warning that you're seeing there. This is now starting to push its way into the western side of Chester County, and the same thing is going to go for over in York County. So even though you're not technically under the flood watch, you're going to see some excessive rainfall, and that's what I'm concerned about. This is training rain. That's one shower or storm after another, and we'll continue to see this on and off through the coming days. So a closer look at what you're expecting today. I think it's really today is most of the rain is going to fall, seeing anywhere from 1 to 3 inches of rain today alone, especially areas east of Charlotte and northwest of Charlotte. And here I'll explain. So what's going to happen is this morning, it's wet. It's a washout. Once you hit the middle of the afternoon, we're starting to see a break in the coverage. I still think today is an overcast day, but instead of widespread light to moderate rain with the times torrential downpours, I think you might have anywhere from a cloudy to a drizzly, misty environment that could exchange over to a light rain shower and on and off showers and thunderstorms. It's also at this point, the areas to the southwest could have a better chance for storms. That's why you're seeing a little bit more activity further off towards the west. That's mainly right over here in this general distinction. It's also these areas that are going to have the better chance for those higher rain totals, because look what happens over the next 12 hours or so. Seeing about 2 inches up in the mountains, 2 inches to the east. Charlotte could have up to an inch with more on and off rain expected through the overnight. Then by tomorrow, it's kind of that typical pattern that you have pop-up showers and thunderstorms, mainly during the afternoon. Same thing for your Wednesday, but hit or miss rain as that system is eventually getting out of here. And then it's summer. We're back to around 90 degrees. 89 will actually feel like the lower 90s because we have a heat index. It's humid during this period as well. Best chance for pop-up showers and thunderstorms we typically see during the summer months. That'll be on Saturday. So all in all, good chance for most of the day to stay dry for the PGA at Quail Hollow. But today is the one day that stands out from all the rest, and that's why we're weather alert for the chance for a strong thunderstorm, and certainly because of that widespread rain and that flooding threat. So stay weather aware, stay safe, and drive safe. Majestic tells you some of the hazards you can expect on the roads.
All right, we are still seeing multiple accidents as you are heading out the door, getting ready for your Monday morning commute. You can see our live traffic maps. All of the red is indicating those big slowdowns for your morning commute, and you can see all those icons that are now really starting to pop up. Let's take it on in. I want to talk about this one here because this is really the most important one. 2 lanes are currently blocked because of a crash on I-85. Northbound lanes are being impacted by this. That's over towards University City Boulevard, so you can see all of the red. But in addition to this is a live look at that right now. You can see emergency responders are on scene. Traffic is still able to get around it. It's just really slow moving. It's actually quite slow moving in both directions. Another accident to know about, this is Sugar Creek Road. There is a crash on Highway 21 at WT Harris Boulevard, seeing some medium impacts there. And then let's take it on through Uptown. You can see all that red up and down I-77 there. We'll have another check at those roads coming up in just a few. Lisa.
Thanks, Majestic. Did you know back in 1956, Elvis Presley performed at the Carolina Theater in Uptown Charlotte?
As you can imagine, each night was a sellout. WCNC Charlotte's Larry Sprinkle introduces us to a native Charlottean who was there for the show.
It was February 10th, 1956. Thousands stood in line right here to see Elvis Presley at the Carolina Theater. It was a moment that rocked Charlotte and the Carolina Theater nearly 70 years ago, when a young Elvis Presley lit up the stage and stole the hearts of hundreds, including Charlottean Judy Walters, who still remembers the show like it was yesterday. Do you remember anything he said, either during the concert or that day?
No, he seemed nervous. He probably was nervous. And like the All Shook Up, even though he didn't sing that song, but later on it made me think about that. And those rubber legs made me think he was probably nervous.
On that day in 1956, the Carolina Theater became the epicenter of something extraordinary. A 21-year-old Elvis Presley, just starting to make waves in the music world, gave the crowd there something to scream about. Judy was only 12 at the time.
It was just so much excitement because it was absolutely new to me. And knowing that I couldn't watch it on television, and this was my first experience of really seeing someone live, and it was just amazing.
This was the only appearance Elvis ever made at the Carolina Theater, but the impact of that show lives on. For Judy Walters and so many others, it's a time they'll never forget.
When Elvis performed, they had announced after he finished singing that any of you girls would like a kiss, just meet Elvis backstage, line up.
Are you serious?
I'm serious.
You could go backstage.
We lined up.
To kiss Elvis.
To kiss Elvis. That long line. And I was here with a few of my girlfriends. And one of them was really brave. You know, she was kind of outspoken. But me, I was kind of shy. I was shy, not kind of. So when they were lined up and each turn, they got their kiss, they just kept going next. So when my turn came, and I looked at him, and I kind of got close to his, his face. And I can't do this. I was so shy. So I turned to my girlfriend, Kay Biggerstaff at that time, and I said, "You're going to have to take my kiss." So she, "Oh, yeah." So I get 2 kisses. Yeah.
So you didn't really get kissed by Elvis?
I didn't kiss by Elvis, but I think I let my lips kind of breeze by.
Even before he recorded his biggest hits, Elvis Presley on stage here at the Carolina Theater. He actually did 4 shows that day.
4 shows in one day.
4 shows in one day.
Wow.
And it wasn't just him. He was on tour with a group from the Grand Ole Opry, much of country music singers and groups. But obviously, he was a highlight of the show. By the way, I got the price here. It was adults 85 cents, children, kids 50 cents to see Elvis.
50 cents.
Back in the day.
I think to myself, Benson Boone was here last week for Love and Life. Very popular young
Right.
guy. What would have happened if he would have had girls line up backstage for a
They'd still be in line, right?
Could you? I mean, first of all, it would be our top story today.
It is. I know, right?
There's that.
It's done anymore. Strictly
I think that's probably frowned upon. Probably.
And I bet those tickets didn't cost 85 cents either.
No, they did not. Goodness, that's great.
Wow. All right. Thanks, Larry.
All right, let's take a live picture right now. I believe this is over Uptown, believe it or not, but that's what you get right now. Fog, cloud, you name it. Not the prettiest of Mondays by any chance. Chris standing by. He's got a check of your weather impact forecast. Majestic also has a check of your Monday morning commute, and as you can imagine, it has been a messy one. We're back with that, plus headlines at 8:30 on WCNC Plus.
Well, good morning, everybody. It's raining, so have the rain jacket and the rain boots. Not often I say that. Usually the cop-out statement is, hey, bring the umbrella. No, I think that you might as well just have a rain jacket, throw the hood up. I think that's going to be a little bit better for you because that umbrella is going to take forever to dry. You're looking at a widespread rain scenario for this morning. It's not going to stop for hours. There's a slight chance that we could have a break in the rain, so it's not often that you have more wet hours than dry ones. But by the middle of the afternoon, don't be surprised that you have a few breaks here and there, but at that point you also have a chance for an on-off shower to sneak up on you, and there could even be some thunderstorms going forward. Then we have widespread rain overnight, especially for the mountains. That's where we pivot that high flooding potential, and then it's more of a typical summertime pattern, on and off showers and storms for the afternoon on Tuesday, and then we do it again on Wednesday, but Wednesday we'll have a chance for a little bit of rain in the morning. After that, it's summer pretty much, mid to the upper 80s, near 90 degrees, feeling humid through the week. So all in all, a good forecast, slight chance for a pop-up shower or storm or two for PGA at Quail Hollow. Majestic?
All right, whether you're traveling from North or South Carolina, those area roadways surely are wet. You can see it in one of our live cameras here, I-77. Raindrops on the camera, and those roads are just covered with wet conditions. You can see it there even on our live traffic maps. Multiple accidents to let you know about. We'll really focus on this one as we are still seeing those big impacts. 2 lanes are blocked due to a crash on I-85 northbound before exit 43. That's University City Boulevard.
We are live on WCNC Plus at 8:30 on this Monday. I'm Lisa Washington.
And I'm Ben Thompson. Happening today, Charlotte's future taking shape, and city leaders want your input.
Officials are going to discuss 14 new community area plans that could transform neighborhoods across the city for decades to come. Our Destiny Richards is live this morning with what's at stake and how you can have a say. Destiny.
Yeah, as we know, Charlotte continues to grow, so city leaders are basically coming up with a long-term strategy to guide what that growth will look like year after year, basically until 2040 and beyond. And today, folks can weigh in on what that will look like and weigh in on these plans. Now, the 14 community area plans were released to the public back in early April, and they each outline a detailed vision for specific sections of Charlotte. The plans provide guidance on development, infrastructure, and land use, all in alignment with the city's 2040 comprehensive plan. For example, in East Charlotte, one key focus is the intersection of Plaza Road and W.T. Harris Boulevard, where the city sees room for safer streets, walkability, and new development opportunities. And on Orr Road and Old Concord Road, a potential future innovation district designed to support jobs, research, and high-tech mixed-use development. Now, advocacy groups say the vision in these plans is promising, but emphasize that turning these concepts into reality will take time.
Great stuff, but it's aspirational. Like we've seen time and time again, not just in East Charlotte, but throughout the city, projects that are put on paper, it might take Kids of Eastland 30 years to come to fruition.
And city planners stress that these renderings that you just saw, these are just possibilities. So nothing officially set in stone. Any final results would depend on factors like community input, funding, and market conditions. And you can be a part of that community input with tonight's public hearing. It's happening at 5 p.m. during the Charlotte City Council meeting. Live in Uptown, I'm Destiny Richards, WCNC Charlotte.
All right, so Destiny, you mentioned that some of these things could take decades in some cases, but are certain parts of the city expecting to see some of the changes sooner rather than later?
Yeah, so basically any current infrastructure projects, any programs that are currently in place to help meet a community's needs, those could be considered part of this plan. So for example, the Eastland Yards development, there's some apartments that are opening up really soon. I know that development is still in progress, but you can see already that took many years to come to fruition. But these 14 community area plans really just identify the profiles of each part of Charlotte, and they really just determine what are those communities' greatest needs. Do they need more access to housing, which that was something that was a feature of the East Charlotte area. So the Eastland Yards project is meeting that need. Are there any needs economically, the job market in that area? How does transportation look? Is it an easy walkable area, or do they need some adjustments with the infrastructure there? So a lot of these community area plans are very broad and general ideas of what they want these parts of Charlotte to look like, again, in decades into the future. But there could be some projects that are ongoing right now, some that could happen in the next couple of years that will over time just add up to meeting those needs and the vision that is laid out in these area plans. So definitely check it out. The link to view all of it, to view your area where you live so you can see those plans, it's all in this story on the WCNC Charlotte News app.
And this is really the chance to have your say about the place where you live and what you want it to look like.
That's right.
All right, Destiny, thank you so much for that. All right, let's check in with Chris now because we are weather alert today with all this rain, Chris.
Yeah, not a great day. Check it out. This is our beautiful Dallas camera, literally our head in the clouds. This is the cloudiest camera we have because it's 1,450 feet up in the atmosphere, and also shows how low this cloud cover is that's producing the rain. As you can see, some water droplets now starting to come down the lens. Widespread rain is an understatement. Every single one of our 22 counties that we cover here on WCNC and WCNC Plus has got rain, and some areas even dealing with some heavier downpours that are embedded in this. The darker green, that's still not pleasant to walk in, and we're mainly dealing with the light greens to the darker greens. That's really a light to a moderate rain shower. But anytime we get in the yellows to the oranges, it's dumping. And that's exactly what we're seeing. And look at the difference. We're seeing that light rain, just maybe 3/100ths of an inch per hour to up to an inch plus per hour in some of these cells. So you just got to know, all in all, it's a light to moderate rainfall, but then at times you are going to see a very heavy downpour. I want to talk about the science that's going into this a little bit more. Widespread, especially heavier rain is now in the central parts of South Carolina. The reason why, it's drinking from the Atlantic. So you have this front that's driving things up. It's borrowing all that moisture, so it's feel more humid today as well. But then as this starts to swing its way back towards the southwest, it's gliding along a low pressure system. It's going to be more of the western Carolinas. I think they're going to have the heavier rain rates. That's why you're seeing this little corridor of red right through here. Parts really guiding along 321. And then I think some areas in the North Carolina mountains, as that rain starts to ride up the slope, could have over 4 to 6 inches of rain. That's extremely isolated. For the most part, I think you can call for 1 to 3 inches across much of the greater Charlotte area. Here's futurecast rainfall throughout the course of this morning. Widespread rain. It's a washout as far as this morning goes. By the afternoon, it's a little iffy. For some of us, we see rain pretty much all hours of the day. So it's the true definition of a washout, which is sunrise to sunset. You got rain. Notice areas west of I-77 start to see a little bit of a break at first, but then once we get to the middle of the afternoon, still overcast, could have some mist and drizzle in between, but it's at this point that you're gonna have a better chance for lighter rain rates, even a break from the rain entirely, but then it's also going to be a hit or miss shower or a thunderstorm in between. Even though this does show some breaks in the clouds, like, oh, maybe you'll see the sun, I think that the deck of clouds is way too thick for us to really be that hopeful. But then down towards the southwest, we have a chance to change over to a strong thunderstorm, a conveyor belt of moisture there. That's where we're seeing some of the higher rates up into the mountains. Tuesday, it's a little more tame. You don't start off as wet, could have a spotty shower or two, but notice the time. This is 2 p.m. This is more of the typical pop-up showers and thunderstorms. I think you could even see some sunshine by tomorrow. And then this trail and this tail of rain could guide through on Tuesday evening, overnight, bring maybe some spotty showers for your Wednesday. Slight chance for the back end of this to pop-up shower or thunderstorm, but it's trending in a better direction. Then we have a whole new story. It's almost feeling like summer. The warmest we've been so far this year is we hit 88 degrees twice. Typically, it's May 20th that is our first 90-degree temperature. Well, we're going to be very close for the 16th on Friday, and that's also day 2 of the PGA at Quail Hollow. Weather alert for today, though, just to kind of backtrack myself, that's where we have the only bar that stands out from all the rest. Other than that, just kind of outside showers or thunderstorm chances, and then really a better chance for a warmer and humid forecast going forward with a pop-up shower thunderstorm each and every afternoon. So still active heading in the evening, just not nearly as bad. Today also does have a slight chance for a severe thunderstorm. I'll break that down in a subsection of my upcoming forecast at the end of our stream here on WCNC Plus. But first, we have to check the roads with Majestic. How's it doing?
All right, still lots to get to as we are taking a live look outside. I-77 at mile marker 82. If you're going to be traveling in to the uptown area or just really the Charlotte metro area from South Carolina, this is a live look outside. We are seeing traffic flowing there. Lots of red popping up on our live traffic maps, but not just red. Numerous accidents still ongoing. If you're heading up towards North Highway 77, that's where we also have some red popping up there. Still no accidents out that direction. Where we do have some issues is really right here. 2 lanes blocked due to a crash on I-85 northbound lanes right before exit 43. That's University City Lane Boulevard, and you can see a live look outside at that. Not seeing the camera specifically pointed on that accident, but still seeing slow-moving conditions. Another accident you may want to know about is right here, Tryon Street. Southbound lanes are being impacted by that. There is a crash at Bennett Street. They're seeing some medium impacts. As far as those drive times go, you can see it is going to take you a while to get into the Charlotte area. From Waxhaw, just over 50 minutes, and then from Matthews to Charlotte, about 31.
Thanks, Majestic. 8:39 now. Happening today, a new community resource will start cooking up healthy habits in our area.
The Nutrition Kitchen is offering free classes to help people make better food choices. WCNC Charlotte's Miles Harris now live at the new facility in West Charlotte. Miles, this is a major addition for that neighborhood.
Yeah, it really is there, Ben and Lisa, but it is so much more than just a nutrition kitchen, but a teaching kitchen as well, where the goal is simple but powerful: to improve health and wellness by promoting healthy eating and lifestyles in an interactive but also engaging way. this community resource in Charlotte is offering something that many neighborhoods desperately need: free nutrition education and healthy cooking demonstrations.
And focusing on what the patient's normal eating, daily eating habits are, but making adjustments to what and how they can prepare it to work to their benefit.
Monique Weeks, one of the directors at the C.W. Williams Community Health Center, says the kitchen will host classes focusing on everything from meal preparation to seasonal food choices.
We want to make you see what you can actually become, your stature, how you feel inside, which typically makes you feel better on the outside. We're just trying to make that change.
Channeling healthy food options and building a healthier community, one cooking class at a time.
We can do so many things in the community. We're just ready to make change. The goal is to be healthier. The goal is to be happier, because when you're not.
Ben, Elisa, what makes this program really so unique and such an advantage for the Charlotte area is not only are they offering these classes in this edition in person, but they're also offering those cooking classes and those teaching classes online as well, really giving parts of the Charlotte community a chance to really take full advantage of this new edition. Now, the unveiling for this nutrition kitchen is set to unveil today at 2 o'clock, but really a nice addition, and really organizers with the C.W. Williams Health Center really looking forward to seeing the impact that it makes in our community as well. Ben and Lisa.
Sounds like a great resource, Miles. I have to ask you though, anyone who's been into a grocery store will tell you the prices are, pretty high these days. Do we know if these classes will focus on affordable meal options?
Yeah, so the goal with these classes is not only just to alter and really give those more healthy options, but also cheaper options as well. What are the ones that really are making sure that we're not squeezing every penny out of our wallet when we're going through those aisles and going through those the grocery stores as well. This is supposed to also give us those options and really making sure that we understand what we can do when we're actually grabbing those items, whether they're spices, whether they're herbs, and really, again, really just taking the full advantage of not just the classes, but what we're doing when we're shopping for those items as well. Guys.
It's the other ingredient list can add up.
But a lot of times, if you focus on healthy foods specifically, they are more expensive.
Absolutely. It can cost more. Yes.
Yeah. All right, Miles, thanks, sir. 8:42 right now on WCNC Plus. And new this morning, we are hearing from the U.S. Treasury Secretary about the trade deal reached between the U.S. and China. The deal calls for an initial 90-day pause where the U.S. will lower its overall tariffs on Chinese goods from 145% down to 30%. While China will leave its levies on American imports from 125% to 10%.
We have reached an agreement on a 90-day pause and substantially moved down the tariff levels. Both sides on the reciprocal tariffs will move their tariffs down 115%. We had very robust discussions. Both sides showed great respect. Throughout the trade process, we have had a plan. We have a process in place. And now with the Chinese, after this weekend, we have a mechanism for continued talks. So process, plan, and mechanism.
The Treasury Secretary says negotiations will continue and says both sides are committed to achieving what they see as balanced deal.
New research this morning suggests cold plunges don't really do a lot to help women recover after they exercise. In fact, researchers say most health and exercise studies are based on men and don't take into account how women's bodies function. Yasmin Vesuvian explains.
It's time to go plunge. Let's go.
Cold plunges are hot right now.
Oh, that's cold.
From fitness influencers,
3 minutes minimum, 6 minutes maximum at 48 degrees,
to A-list celebrities.
Come on.
Many swearing by it over recent years, saying it helps muscle recovery, boost your metabolism, regulate hormone production, improve circulation, and activate your immune system. And some medical studies do support the benefits, although the research is still scant. And now a new study suggesting that for women, taking the plunge might not cut it. After completing a rigorous workout, 30 women randomly dipped in hot or cold water. Researchers found compared to doing nothing, neither improved muscle recovery. And recently, popular self-help influencer Mel Robbins, a cold plunge enthusiast herself, having a viral moment on her podcast with women's physiology expert Dr. Stacey Sims, who says the water just doesn't have to be that cold.
Which is around that 55-degree mark, she'll end up with the same responses that a man has because it's not as severe shock to a woman's body as it is for a man.
And it's not just about the cold plunges. Experts like Dr. Sims and others argue many widely held beliefs around fitness and weight loss, intermittent fasting, working out on an empty stomach, don't take the needs of women into account.
There are two different factors driving differences in how men and women respond to different types of therapies like cold plunges. One is physiologic. Men have less body fat than women. Number two is women in general have an instinct to conserve heat at a different rate than men do. The third are our hormonal changes.
One analysis reporting only about 6% of exercise and sports science studies take menstrual cycles into account when designing studies. And those hormone fluctuations can impact the results. So, in the name of science, I went to the Ice Cold Club in Brooklyn to try it myself. Lauren Schramm is the club's founder and a global Nike trainer. She says it's not just about the body, but the mind.
The reason I started doing it was because of the mental health benefits. It's your mind, your body, and your nervous system. So it's kind of like a practice to managing stress, and it translates directly to other areas in your life.
Lauren then coached me through my own cold plunge experience. The water a cool 48 degrees Fahrenheit.
Yeah, you get used to it, right? It passes. Yeah.
And while difficult, I did feel better afterwards.
You did great. I'm so proud.
Revived. And at the end of the day,
what works for one person won't necessarily work for someone else.
And I'll tell you, some days the cold plunge feels horrible. It's like a mirror to what's going on in your life. We need to experiment with ourselves a little bit and not just take what everyone says and just do it.
It's all about what works for you.
Well, one size does not fit all, but for all of us today, we're getting the rain.
Yeah, it's a rain jacket type of day because oftentimes, hey, bring the umbrella, kiss the shower. No, everyone's got this going on this morning. The only difference is your friends, say, in Gaston County might be getting a torrential downpour and you're just getting a light trickle. And then you could exchange the rain intensity a little bit later on. I'm still keeping an eye this branch of rain, this one right down here. It's going to swing generally back off towards the north and west. So I think it's really Cleveland County. I would include western York, Gaston, Lincoln County, up into Burke County. I think you're going to have the highest rain rates for the duration of this morning, not discounting what we're going to see over here, because this is very similar for the eastern side, where it's actually west and east of Charlotte. I think we have our heaviest rain through this morning and over the next few days. Our best rain chances are today and tonight. Widespread today, 100%. It's going to rain. It already has rained for most of you. And then widespread overnight tonight and likely by tomorrow, and then becomes more scattered heading into your Wednesday. So your weather impact window. Today is the only day that we're weather alert. Well, why not the other ones? Today has the most rain, which is the highest flash flooding potential. And there's also an outside chance for a few storms. I'm going to break that down a little bit more, even though I truly believe that this is not the big deal. It's the flooding rain. Oftentimes you can have such a vast system as this one, but then you can have embedded thunderstorms. And I think that's what this is indicating. This is really an outside chance, seeing a better chance maybe right around Spartanburg. Our damaging wind risk just about a 5% to a 0 across our area, and there's also a slight tornado potential. The reason why I'm not really believing this too much, one, I think it's going to be breezy on and off throughout today, gusts up to 20 to 25. That is enough that if you have, say, some root rot in a shallow rooted tree, saturated soils could bring it down. Now, if winds get anything over that, it's a better chance for that, so it's very isolated if you do see a tree down or two, or maybe some weak rotting limbs. But where we're seeing the best chance for storms, not really seeing anything pick up here here on Futurecast Winds. Oftentimes with this thunderstorm potential, that graphic's going to change. Also for our Futurecast, you see some developing storms. They'll be spotty on and off throughout the day. Best chance around Spartanburg. So I'm not discounting it. I'm just saying it's a very low chance that we have any severe thunderstorm warnings, but it is still a chance, and that's how we work in the weather world. Our flood watch, though, much higher further northwest and east you go of Charlotte. Charlotte is excluded because I think we're just barely outside of that widespread rain that could lead to a flash flooding situation. However, the usual flood spots like the Little Sugar Creek could easily overcome its banks and then flood parts of the Greenway. But we have a medium threat across the Carolinas for rain because this is the most widespread. By tomorrow, it's still there. It's a low chance, and then it pretty much leaves our area by about Wednesday, and then we get to calm down for a little bit. Already today, we've had over a ½ inch of rain right around the Boone area, and that's where we're going to see most of it, close to about a ¼ inch so far in Charlotte. When this is all said and done, 2 to 4 inches of rain will fall in the mountains. The rest of us seeing a range about 1 to 2. I think we could have as high as 2 to 3 for some of our eastern zones. Real quick, here's how it all goes down. Widespread rain for the course of this morning. This is where most of the rain falls. There will be a slight chance. Charlotte seeing a little break from the rain by about the middle of the afternoon, but a developing shower or thunderstorm will move in right behind it. Then scattered rain on and off through the overnight will be possible heading into Tuesday morning. We take another break. Spotty showers develop through the afternoon, on and off activity. I think you get my point. Today's the most widespread. That's why today we are weather alert. It stands out from all the rest, but still in a discounted chance for a spotty storm with a gustier wind that could bring down a tree or two on Tuesday. Wednesday, things start to transition where we could clear out this system. That's going to warm us up back to around 90 degrees for day 2 of the PGA at Quail Hollow. Through the weekend, mid-80s. All of these days are humid, by the way, and our best chance for rain during the tournament looks to be Saturday afternoon, but each day, Thursday through Friday, could have a pop-up shower or thunderstorm. Majestic, these mornings are always wild weather-wise. How's traffic faring?
Well, it's been pretty wild as well. Many accidents this morning as people are heading out the door starting their Monday morning commute. Everyone really just needs to take it easy because we do have those very wet roadways out there. This is I-77, multiple live looks here. You can see people are heading off and starting their day, but there are some slowdowns that you'll want to know about. Lots of red popping up in our live traffic maps, especially right here where 2 lanes are currently blocked because of a crash on I-85. Northbound lanes right around the University City Boulevard, so you can see northbound where we're having a lot of red now popping up. Here's a live look outside. The camera is not specifically pointed on the accident, but you can see traffic is still able to move around that area. It might just be a little slow going at times. We have another accident where a lane is blocked due to a crash on Highway 16. Southbound lanes are being impacted there at Candlewick Lane. You can see all the red there on Highway 16. Just to the south of it, really the intersection between Highway 16 and then Highway 51, there's an ongoing accident that's making for some major backups there. Southbound lanes being impacted there as well.
It's our Monday trivia time, and it's all about Charlotte then and Charlotte now. Take a look back the past 100 years. The year was 1925. This is the skyline of Charlotte, North Carolina. By the way, none of those buildings even exist today. Let's take a look at our 1925 population. 46,128. That was Charlotte 1925. Take a look at Charlotte today, 2025. The beautiful skyline, best skyline in America. Population approximately today, 916,585. What a big change, Charlotte then and Charlotte now. And that's your Monday trivia. I'm Larry Sprinkle.
8:53 right now on WCNC Plus. Have you ever wondered why your favorite music makes you tap your feet and bob your head? Well, it turns out our favorite songs affect our entire bodies. When you move along to a song, it's because your brain's rhythms sync up with the music, causing your entire body to dance along naturally. No word on if this applies to people who don't have rhythm.
Oh, they dance anyway. You've seen them. You know they do.
Researchers also say when we share music with others, it creates a shared link with those around us. That's why concerts feel so magical when everybody's singing to the same song.
So earlier this morning, we asked you to share some of your favorite songs, the ones that always make you want to move. And here are some of the responses. When a man loves a woman, okay, that's a ballad. Getting jiggy with it, we know that, oh, that's a good one. Look top left. Before I Let Go, Maze featuring Frankie Beverly, very good. Boots on the Ground, that's popular now.
I appreciated the getting jiggy with it.
Yeah.
That was Will Smith.
That's
and his,
Chris,
like,
by the way, in the background.
That's a good option. I said I thought Thriller was a good one.
Thriller is good. I think some of the Stevie Wonder hits.
Yep.
Yeah, so again.
Why do we pick old music?
I don't know. I mean, it's good. I could maybe do something. When I was in college, this was also old too then. I liked
That's my point.
Slick Rick's Children's Stories.
Okay.
You know that?
Yes.
Every time it came on, I was on the dance floor.
That was you. And if it had a siren?
Don't get me started.
Don't get
All
me
right,
started.
moving on. Check this out. Moms got a special treat at the ballpark in Uptown this weekend. All moms got a free ticket to the Knights game against the Memphis Redbirds yesterday. There were also Mother's Day themed activities, including making jewelry, cards, and getting family photos. The first 100 moms through the gate also received a free carnation. The moms got to run the bases with their kids after the game. And by the way, they won that game 6-5. So go Knights.
You have a good Mother's Day?
I did. Went down to Bennettsville. Had
right.
a good day.
That's right. I passed by you.
You did pass by.
I should have come by and said hello.
You should have. Next time we'll have you over.
Sure.
Yeah, my kids had, the frozen pancake waffles.
Yeah.
Caleb made like 6 of those for me.
How about that?
Wrote a sweet message.
Very nice.
Yeah, nothing too fancy.
That's all right. That's all right. All right, folks, let's take a live look right now. This tells you how the morning's going so far. This is Uptown, beyond the clouds and the fog. Chris is standing by. He's got more on your WCNC weather impact forecast because it's a weather alert day here in Charlotte. Also, Majestic has a look at your morning commute. It's been messy as well. All that and more coming your way right here on WCNC Plus. Keep it here all day long.
Would you look at that beautiful day? 67 degrees is what we have right now. I'm not really focusing too much on the temperatures. Why? Because it's not really moving too much from here. We're going to range anywhere from about 63 to 70 degrees across our area. Rain actively moving through. Will be heavy at times. Washout morning. It will rain for the rest of this morning. It's not until the afternoon. There will be a few breaks here and there, but even a break in the rain could be followed by more showers, even a heavier downpour. So keep that in mind. This forecast will be on and off through the overnight, heading into Tuesday morning before we start to see the usual pop-up showers and thunderstorms during the afternoons. It's the coolest as well, warm by the end of the week. Majestic?
All right, area roadways are definitely picking up this morning. Still, you can see it is a very wet start to our Monday morning, but cars are taking it nice and easy for the most part. We still do have a couple of accidents I want to let you know about, especially along Highway 16. I want to take it south of Charlotte. That's where we do have those ongoing impacts. There's a lane blocked at Highway 16. Southbound lanes are being impacted by that. That's over towards Candlewick Lane, so make sure you drive with caution.